Hey folks, what's up? This is Darkman. Welcome back to Fixin To Fish. And today we're going to be doing a very fun kind of fishing that I really enjoy. I do it mostly in ponds, but I've had pretty good luck in canals and even rivers. I've had pretty decent luck. This is a trick I use when I just want to catch anything if I'm not really looking for trophy sized bass or anything massive. And that is to use crappie baits. Now right here I got a crappie magnet in chartreuse and white on a little jig head, and this thing will catch pretty much anything willing to eat right now. It will catch bass, it will catch crappie, and it will catch bluegill if they're not on a bed. If they're on a bed, you're going to have to throw it on a bed. But I went fishing with one a little earlier and I threw it on a bluegill bed. There's not many of them in my ponds, and the bluegill actually ripped off one of the appendages on one of my crappie magnets. It was so mad at the thing. But I love this. I use this setup in the winter when it's like really tough, cold weather. I'll float this under a cork or something. Put a little crappie nibble on the hook right between those two appendages right there, and I'll show you how to rig that when we get down there. So we're gonna head down to my little pond. We're gonna go to the one that I actually have had a lot of trouble catching fish out of, just to see if maybe this setup will work there. And I did have a fantastic bite on one of my other ponds today, but I really want to try this on the really bad pond that really hasn't been producing. We'll see what happens. All right, so we're down here at the pond, and you guys know that I've had trouble with this pond for a while. And I think this will catch whatever's in here. So one of the things I like to do is, you don't have to do this, but if it's a tough spot, you can get a crappie nibble, Berkeley crappie nibble, I think. Yes, Berkeley makes these, and sort of wedge it down between the legs like that, so it makes the legs pop out. Then put another one. And you're basically going to fish this like a tiny little swim jig. You definitely want to have a light action, medium light, or an ultra light rod for this, because you won't have enough tip to cast out. It's a little hard with a medium light, and you basically just want to swim it off the bottom like a little jig. Now if you have a clean bottom, you can let it sit on the bottom and a fish will pick it up. But if you have weeds, like I do, I just had a violent bite. Wow. That was probably a brim. Little bluegill, sunfish, or whatever. You could tell the difference. A bass will be a very committed chomp, and a brim will be sort of a peck as they try to get that nibble off. Now these crappie nibbles, they last for a little bit, but eventually they do turn to mush. So I'm dropping nibbles everywhere. So I'm gonna push that down, pop the legs out until it makes like a V. We're just gonna cast out. And the nice thing about this is it'll catch bass, it'll catch bluegill, it might even catch crappie. The difference is with crappie won't go down for their food. They will only go up, which is why a lot of people use floats. So if you drop this down below them, the crappie will not take the bait. But with bluegill and bass, you can leave this on the bottom and jig it, hop it, whatever. A little while ago, I fished another pond and I got about 7 fish in about 15 minutes. But this pond's a little bit tougher. I'm just giving it a little bit of action. Got a bite. Got him. Yeah, it's a bass. Oh, buddy. Bass have no problem eating these. Little tiny fish. Look at the size of that fish. That is the smallest bass I've ever seen. You generally won't catch giant bass with this setup, but I've caught decent fish. I've caught 3-pounders using this rig. So it's definitely not impossible. I would find it kind of unlikely to catch anything beyond that. Finally got fish out of this pond. It's been a while. Got one. That's actually pretty big. I'll be darned. Not bad. Barely hooked him too. Got him right in the corner of the mouth. Oh, his teeth are sharp too. Getting belt sanded. So there you go. You can catch decent fish with this rig. Not a giant, not a trophy, but not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my bag and we're going to head over to that other pond over there and see what's in there, because to date, I haven't caught anything from that pond. Now we are here in what I like to call the Brim Pond or the Impasa Pond, because it is very hard to get a fish out of here. I just had fish on. You just saw me walking up. That was my first cast. Fish in here tend to be really small. It makes it very difficult to get a bite. A lot of times I'll just spit the hook out. I probably need a smaller hook, but I am trying to get the bigger fish, like that one. Alright, we got our first sunfish. That is a beauty. Oh, what's a bluegill? Oh god. It's got stripes. If you eat that pretty far down, that's a pretty fish. Nice looking bluegill. Very small, but to be expected out of this pond. There's actually a big ass carp in here. I just saw it swim right in front of me. I thought I saw a carp last year, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, it was definitely a carp. So right in front of me is that carp. I don't know if you could see it. It's right there. He's feeding off the bottom. I spooked him. Well, not really my thing, but one of these days maybe I'll try for him. Definitely not a carp master by any means. This pond is definitely different than some of the other ones. It's almost like it was a sand pit that they filled full of water. So I guess that's going to do it. It's getting kind of late and I messed with this pond a little bit. Got lots of bites, but nothing is really taking, and I think that's because the sunfish population in here, or bluegill, is just too small to take this hook. I think there might be a few big ones, but for the most part, I think that they're so small, just like in the other pond, that you could spend hours trying to catch them in here. So if you've never tried this type of fishing, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun to do. I think kids can really enjoy it. And you will catch pretty much anything that there is to catch. Short of, I guess, maybe carp. I don't really know how to fish for carp. Just FYI, we got a bunch of storms coming in the next week. And I will be out of commission during those storms. It's going to rain probably till next Monday. Maybe even further than that. So all my spots will be closed that I've been fishing at. And I don't know if I want to fish here when it's going to be such a hardcore storm. Well, the sun is dipping and the biting flies are coming out, chewing me to pieces. They seem to be around the water and they've been all over me. So I'm gonna have to call it a day. They come out around this time, start biting you. But I just wanted to show that for such a very simplistic rig, it does tend to catch quite a bit of fish. And while you may not catch a trophy, you'll definitely catch something with it. So I highly recommend picking it up. But anyway, thanks for watching. Till next time.